Dating is such a motherfucking joke, and I'm about to tell you why. Most recently, this is a date I had with someone where we went to the Asian Art Museum in my local nearby city. Cute enough concept, but let's just say, like, they kept walking ahead of me or super far away from me and wandering off without a single word. Anytime I did talk to them, nothing really came of that. Like, it was just extremely fucking awkward. And also, something they did that pissed me off was before the date. Like, they were like, ooh, like, they hyped up, like, oh, yes, we could take you pictures of each other's. I could take pictures of you to update your Bumble account with, haha. And they were talking all about, like, how they are happy to take pictures of me, happy to take pictures of me. But then something funny happened. As soon as we get to an area with, like, really cool lighting and stuff, I'm like, oh, hey, do you want to take a picture together? And then they didn't hear me correctly, and they went, you said you really want me to take a picture of you? And I said, no. And I straight up said, oh, no, I want to take a picture of me and you together. This idiot, instead of saying he doesn't hear me, he just assumes I said, I want you to take a picture of me. That doesn't sound remotely fucking similar, but this nigga then gets an attitude. He's like, give me your phone, I'll take a fucking picture of you then. And it's like, excuse me? You're the one. And that's when I was like, hold up, because you're not about to disrespect me. I said we can take a picture together. I did not ask for a picture of just me. I made that clear. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said type shit. We did take one single picture together. It was cute, whatever. But then I guess they did feel bad. They were like, here, let me take some pictures of you. And this is what really annoyed me. Because I got into position to pose, but before I could even fully get into, like, I just asked, like, hey, how's the angle looking? Is this, like, full body? They didn't respond. And I could see them rapid tapping on their phone, and I wasn't even, like, in position or anything yet. And I was like, wait, dude, like, how is it full body? Can you get a full body picture? With my feet in it. How's the lighting? Does my dark circle show? How's my smile? Should I smile or should I not? Like, hey, what's up? And then imagine the whole time as you're saying this, the dude you're on a date with is just kneeling on the ground like, ha, just completely fucking ignoring everything you're saying. That already pissed me off further. And then guess what? Lo and behold, he took like 18 photos. Every single photo was a terrible low. He did not need to be low angle. I have no idea why he was low angle. It was the dumb, like, sir. It was a low, every photo was a low angle, dark, shadowy, sloppy ass, and it's just like, and also obviously not full body. I don't know how to explain the perspective of the photos, but imagine you were like a little person who was only like 2 feet tall and you were trying to snap photos. Actually, I'm pretty sure a toddler could fuck up and take a better photo than that. My ex's 9-year old, he could take a better photo of me than that. I was actually genuinely pissed. That got on my fucking nerves. Because then it's like, okay, it's not even about the photo. It's the fact that it's like, you are taking pictures of me. How do you not notice my mouth is moving and sound is coming out the entire fucking time? But that's not the worst part about that. No, I actually, like, the date went on. It was awkward in so many ways, but, we tolerated it. And they could tell I was getting pissy for a lot of reasons because they kept showing they had a habit of not listening. But they took me out for Greek food. We got some amazing food from this place called Souvlaki. We got some interesting dessert. Like, we still had a decent time. We met up later despite my other plans for another date that evening. And as they were heading back with me into our mutual city, guess what this nigga talks to me about? Like, conversation starts going really well. Like, really, really well, where I'm like, yeah, me and this dude actually are super compatible in, like, some ways and not others. But then eventually he starts talking about, yeah, my family's like so ghetto, so ghetto, so ghetto. And, for context, he's from like Mongolia. He describes it himself as like Asian Russian people, and that's his culture. But I didn't fully understand what he meant by ghetto, because, just to bait him into telling me a fun story, I was like, oh, well, what's something ghetto that's happened in your family? And this guy tells me, ooh, this is kind of sad. And then he tells me, with a smile, about how his cousin got kidnapped by a Chinese triad and then basically human trafficked to China and then forced into sexual slavery and then also hooked on opioids so that they couldn't escape. And that then when their family finally found them like 2 years later, it sadly didn't help because 2 months later they went back to China. Now that's a heartbreaking story, isn't it? Now imagine someone tells you that as if they're telling like a funny anecdote and then they finish it with, isn't that so fucking ghetto? Like, that's so fucking ghetto. Like, I just stared at him like, Like, sir. And this is what really sealed the deal on me just being like, I'm not gonna see this nigga again. Or, okay, I saw them one single more time, but I'll tell you that in a second. It was just because they already pre bought the ticket. They straight up, I was like, hey, it was weird the other night when you joked about your cousin getting trafficked, especially because you had a story right after that you could have told me first, or just kept it to that story about how your family gets drunk and fights each other, and every family reunion is a drunk free for all. Like, that's something that's actually ghetto. The other thing is just tragic. Why were you laughing about that? And this nigga, he decides to do the most scumbag shit ever. For context, earlier in the day before, on our actual date, before all this shit happened, at some point we were talking about my autism, and I explained to him sometimes when I talk about awkward or uncomfortable subjects, especially morbid ones surrounding grief, my face can twitch. Sometimes it looks like a smile, sometimes it doesn't, but you might see my face twitch. And I like to let people know in advance so that they know, no, I'm not laughing at the fact that you have someone in your family who died. It's just that internally, I am cringing so hard that my face, and also that just happens in general. Sometimes I can't tell what emotion my face is doing. That's why sometimes you'll see me deliver some videos where I look happy or sad or, and it doesn't really match. Anyway, to continue on, so I told my date that he was like, "Ooh, I've never met anybody in the world who has had that before. Wow, this is the first time I'm hearing of it." But then guess what? The next day when I was like, "Hey, weird of you to joke about your cousin getting trafficked," and laughing about it, he tried to use the exact reasoning I used for my autism. He tried to be like, "Oh, well, you see, when I'm talking about heavy subjects, sometimes I look like I'm smiling, but I'm not. My face just twitches." And I just think to myself, one, you're a fucking asshole. So you mean to tell me you're going to use the same excuse that I had, that you too said wasn't ever something you've ever experienced? And three, there's obviously a difference between, oh yeah, my cousin got trafficked. It's sad. And, oh hey, you asked me what's something ghetto that happened to my family. My cousin got trafficked. Isn't that fucking hilarious? Cue the laugh track. Huge fucking difference. He thought I was so slow. I physically just was like, ooh, ooh, I want you off this planet. We met up one more time and we can imagine how bad that went. Simply put, they got tickets to this like queer event that I know about, and they're entirely straight and, if anything, confused by the LGBT. Like, they're decently tolerant, but I was like, you don't have to get tickets to this event because it doesn't, like, really, it's a pride themed event. Are you sure you're going to be fine with it? You have to be prepared for like naked people who are trans or gay or doing this or doing that or immaturity. They were like, yeah, yeah, it's so cool. Guess what? The whole event, they sat there with their arms fucking crossed, like 5 feet, 6 feet away from me, as I was having the time of my life. Like, crop top, mini skirt, colorful wig, rhinestones on my body. I was having a blast as they were just sulking to the side. But the worst part about that date, actually, out of many things, this person was doing a poem about the Pulse nightclub shooting and how traumatic it was, and how it's a shame there can't be many safe spaces for gay people because of things like homophobic people that will just like try to fucking end our lives and kill us. It's very tragic. And then guess what my stupid date decides to do? They decide to get right up to my ear and yell, despite obviously being in my ear, "Oh, so I know this YouTuber that," and then I accidentally, instinctively, like, tried to shove their ass back. I kind of accidentally elbowed them. Kind of felt bad, kind of didn't. And I said, "I'm obviously listening to this." And they were like, "What?" And I said, "I am listening to this." Because, oh my, how fucking stupid are you to be like, I'm gonna interrupt this fucking, like, in a room that was entirely silent, you want to yell about some stupid fucking random YouTube. No, nigga, wait until there's an intermission. That pissed me off so fucking hard. It's like, how tasteless and senseless can you be? And then to sum this story up, the worst shit. For context, they're an awful fucking kisser. On our very first date, I remember, it actually, the kiss alone on the first date was enough to make me not want to see them again. They tried to say I was an aggressive kisser, but I said, I was closed mouthed the entire time. I was just following your lead. Why were you putting your tongue in my mouth? And he said, I wasn't, but at the same time, I could lean into a kiss like this. And he could lean into a kiss, like, I don't, like, for some reason he leaned into kisses with his mouth open and his tongue already rested on the top of his bottom lip, and then he would blame me. He's stupid. So for context, the very first date we had, he basically, we kept bumping heads, not literally, but we kept having botched kisses. He was blaming me, I was rightfully blaming him. And then he tells me, no, no, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. He grabs my face, leans me the fuck in, sucks my top lip like a dick as hard as he can. It's like he's just like a vacuum. He does the exact same thing to my bottom lip and just starts sucking it as hard as he can, pulling it off of my face as hard as he can. And then he looks at me after covering my whole face in saliva and causing me pain and a little bit of weird arousal. He says, now how was that? You can imagine the ick I got from that. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with him? And then moving on, funny enough, yeah, so fast forward to what I was saying before, the third date, the final time I have met up with this asshole. You know, when he did all the tasteless shit at the Pride event we were at, and, you know, he still managed to be relatively, like, he got his act together. He went out of his way to, like, thank certain performers, congratulate them, let them know that they did well, yada, yada, yada. And then afterwards, yeah, right. We got near my place, we talked a little bit, like, as we were driving to my spot. We weren't gonna fuck, definitely not, no. But what happened was, guess what? Knowing I was already repulsed by him in so many ways, but I wanted to be at least polite. Because, you know, he bought tickets and a lot of food for us and stuff. And, you know, I wanted to end the night on a still decent note, even though I was pretty sure I was not going to see him again for a lot of reasons. I just say, all right, give me a quick kiss. And I just lean in for a quick peck, like, mwah. You want to know what happened? Somehow he fucked up a quick peck. Because he saw me purse my lips on some, like, cute little grandma kiss shit. He approached it with an open mouth. He bit my top lip. Strike one. I was like, wait, no. Like, and mind you, it was only a half a second long kiss. How do you manage to speed one biting someone's face? I say, wait, no, not like that. Just like normal kiss, like a small one. Here. I try again. He somehow bites and licks my top lip. And then that's when I'm frustrated. And we're like, he's like, wait, I got it this time. I was like, wait, no, because I was just like, how are you screwing this up this fast in my head? And as I was just like, okay, do I want to try the third time for this, like, what is the easiest kiss known to man for a person to ever physically do that he is somehow fucking up on? This nigga gon' grab me by the shoulders and grab the side of my face and be like, hey, just be normal. Be normal. Do you know how fucking frustrating it is for the type of man who sucked my face like he was a fucking Hoover and covered me in saliva one of the first times we ever fucking kissed, and the same type of guy to make fun of his own cousin for being trafficked to ask me to be fucking normal? How are you biting my lip, my top lip at that, in a closed mouth half second? It's explanatory. Anyway, yeah, I just straight up was like, you know what, fuck this shit. And I left my food in his car, and I'm still mad about it. It was this big ass baked potato with steak and bacon and cheese the size of my head and some birria tacos. You gotta know how mad I was to forget about that shit. Plus, I was a little drunk. And I just straight up said, nigga, you kiss like like those people in Japanese porn kiss, and that's not a compliment. And then I just slammed the door and I left. And then I did the easiest thing ever to scare this guy off. After, of course, I was polite enough to tell him when I did get back home and remembered the food. I was like, shit. I texted him. I was like, hey, dude, you might want to get that food out of your car. You can have it. He was like, oh, thank you. I totally forgot that was there. And then I did what you should do if you ever want to scare a man off. And I asked him for money. And he has not texted me back. So, yeah. Worst fucking date I've had in a while. I don't even know how you fuck up that hard. And before you get mad at me, just look up. I'm not making a joke about him being Asian. If you have ever watched Japanese porn, you will see they do not know what the fuck they're doing in any single way, shape, and form. It's actually kind of shocking. And so it's like, I don't know, like, that's the first thing I thought of when I kissed. If it was any other demographic, I would have called him that too. But sadly, that's just the first thing that comes to mind. The worst fucking... I think it's a pretty good insult to tell somebody, even if they didn't know that he was Asian, because straight up, I told someone else that and they audibly gasped super, super hard. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the worst date I've had in ages. Or several dates. Ooh. Moral of the story: don't be this fucking guy. All right, bye.